Hi YouTube, this is Josh, and this is going to be a more personal movie than normal. And I'm going to try and do it without as few cuts as I possibly can, so bear with me as I have more ums and ers than normal. So, a few years ago, to kind of give you some backstory, I walked away from a perfectly good relationship with who I would consider to be a beautiful girl. And awesome. She was really cool, really cute, and fun to be around. Um, and the reason I walked away from that relationship was because, primarily because of the religious thing. I was still trying to figure out who I am, or who I was. Going through the identity struggle, taking some philosophy classes, trying to figure out if I was an agnostic, an atheist, a Christian, whatever. And I walked away from that relationship because she's an LDS girl and she wanted to have the long-term goal of getting married in the temple. And there was I knew at that point that I wasn't LDS. I didn't know what I was. And as you can see, I'm from Utah from all the stuff in the background. And I ended up just letting that relationship go, and she got engaged a few months later and got married. I think later that within that calendar year. And with religion, it kind of created an anger or resentment there that and it wasn't against her, it wasn't against people, it was against the dogma, it was against the religion, and it wasn't that made me realize that the religion was nonsense. It was that because of the nonsense that religion had fed everybody and feeds everybody that I know, they've robbed me of relationships. Religion has, and it robs people of life and a good place to stand from. It robs people of their humanity. Like I said, I was struggling with my identity a lot at that time. Eventually I came out, as I am now, an atheist, secularist, as far as government goes. And actually, as far as almost anything goes, I'm a secularist, and I'm also a humanist as far as morality and ethics go. And by coming out of the religious mist, the haze, the dogmas, I had this amazing clarity, this newfound clarity of understanding what the universe actually is. It's this big, magnificent, beautiful place. And breaking out of it, it was fantastic. It was this great victory, like destroying all my religious demons and breaking free from the shackles of religion. And in my moment of triumph and victory, found myself utterly alone. When Plato wrote the analogy of the anagram of the cave, about the individual who all the individuals are chained up, forced to stare at a wall, and they think that the shadow puppets are real from the fire behind them. To find himself free from those shackles, to go up the cave, to finally see, to pass by and realize that those shadow puppets were just an illusion, that they were nothing real, and that it was their imaginations that made them real. To coming out of the cave to daylight, whenever I think about this whole situation, I feel that way. I feel like I've got this great insight and I want to give it to all my friends and family, but I go back into the cave, just like in the analogy. He goes back into the cave and tells these people about how great and how wonderful the real world is, and how beautiful and extraordinary of a place that it is. To find them not wanting to go for whatever reason. They don't believe them, or they don't think that they're in an illusion. They think that what they have in front of them is real. And it's tough. I mean, it absolutely sucks, because that's 95% of the people I know and associate with. And many nights have I thought about that relationship that I used to have, and I've doubted whether it would have been worth faking it, to have had that wonderful relationship be something more, to have someone to spend my life with. I oftentimes wonder if the actual isolation that comes from being an atheist in Utah is worth it. Because I think it's funny how religion ground into me the fear of dying, the fear of hell, the fear of eternal. In the LDS faith or the Mormon faith, it's a bit different with the different levels of essentially the levels of heaven, but you're stuck in a monotonous cycle with no progression. It's forever. And how that scares you. And then how dying alone is this scary thing that I got from religion. Only to come out of it with my greatest fear being living alone, growing old alone. And I mean, I again, stuck here, I see YouTube videos where there's this great community, or at least it appears to be so from the outside. I'm sure it's not anything like what it appears to be from the outside. I've heard Meridian Frost and others talk about how it's disorganized and chaotic, and the drama is constant. But you see it's this illusion of hope, that maybe there are others out there that you can connect with, at least for me, at least that I can connect with. Only to shout out into the chasm, into the abyss, to find yourself met with utter silence, deafening silence, as a matter of fact. So obviously a solemn video from my perspective. Hopefully something good comes out of it, and I can't help feel that maybe someday I'll find a purpose, something that made the loneliness worthwhile, that makes being completely isolated and fear of futility. Hopefully I find that reason, or at least something of value at the end of this path. But thanks for tuning in. Hopefully better spirits next time, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Take care. Or day if it's morning for you. But have a good one.